guys, so this is my video of how to scrap a tube TV. So you'll see these a lot just on the side of the road, people getting rid of them. Not a lot of interest in the consumer world right about now, but there's a whole lot of opportunity in the scrapping world for tube TVs. Some days when there's like the city trash days, there will be like tons of them along the road just getting rid of, and when you have the ability to take them apart and make that into something useful, that is really cool. So this is my video on how to scrap a tube TV. So the first thing you do is you take out the screws. So there'll usually be at least one screw in each corner. This one had one on each side as well, and then usually there'll be one or two up top as well. So you don't want to throw those away, you want to keep them, because at the end you can take out all of the recyclable things inside of it and then put the cover back on it, so then it makes a whole nice little package, and so you're less likely to break the glass inside of it, which is what we really aim for, is to not break that. So after taking off those screws, the top should just come right off, and then you're looking at the inside of your tube TV. So you'll have your yoke, which is in the middle, and your board, which are two of your biggest things. So one thing about tube TVs is that they have a, I forget what it's called. They have a thingy inside of them that holds an electric charge. So if you do get them from like on the side of the road or something, you want to make sure you let them sit for at least, I say at least a week. I let mine sit at least that long before I go to scrap them. Or you can do different things with a ground with a screwdriver and a piece of copper wrapped around it and some insulated gloves to ground it. I just find that letting it sit just makes me a whole lot more comfortable than trying to mess around with that. So, alright, so you just pop off this little board off of your yoke, and then what holds the yoke on is two clips, and they each have a little screw in them, and these are actually stainless steel, so you can put these into a separate bin. So you get two of these like ring things with this screw in it, and so one of them will have a stainless steel ring and screw, and one of them will have a stainless steel ring and a metal screw, and so you just want to make sure you throw that screw in the metal pile and these ones in the stainless steel. Alright, so after that there's just a piece of like a plastic ring thing. Usually you can just twist that around a little bit and that will slide right off. You want to be careful that you don't break any of the glass parts. So there's a kind of vacuum inside of it that'll start hissing at you if you break them. It's not the end of the world. I usually just walk away and leave them until they're done making that hissing sound. But we shoot for not breaking them in the first place. So that'll come off, and so that's just a plastic piece. Sometimes I can, if the TVs are big enough, I can be able to slip this just back inside of the TV, because eventually the entire TV will end up going to the trash as a closed whole package, and so I don't mind doing that and just not having to put it into a garbage bag, just putting it back into a package. Alright, so then you have your yoke. You should just be able to give that a light twist. Sometimes there's kind of tape holding it on, but it should just twist off. And then you're able to pull that off, so you can see the nice copper around it. There's a whole copper inside of there. And so I'll make a different video maybe someday talking about how to get out that copper. But for right now, I'm just going to set that aside. And then you have your board. So your board will have a couple different wires that come off of it. It'll have two wires that go down to your speakers, which just have a screw holding them on, and so I pull those off. So there's these two speakers. This right here is a magnet. So usually I can take a vise or a hammer and smack this enough that I'm able to put a chisel and pop that magnet off, and then underneath of it is a little copper ring, a copper spool, and so I put that in the copper bucket. So that's what those are. And then there is one wire that goes off of it to a different thing. You just cut that and then it pulls right out. Sometimes there's a screw on it. This one does not have a screw. This one just slid right out. Alright, so when you're looking at your board, there's a couple things on here that I pull off. One of them was this spool right here. You can see that pretty obviously. This board does not have a switch box, but I made a video showing how you take apart a switch box in a different video, and so that's another one of the big things you pull out of a tube TV. So I set that aside. And then you have your wire. So this will have like just some pieces of tape, maybe some zip ties holding it in, and then you should be able to pull out this wire that's just kind of wrapped around. You take your snippers and snip it. This one is aluminum. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see it's kind of a silver color. So this one is an aluminum one, so that is not worth nearly as much as a copper one, but I still have a bin and I still save those a little bit. Alright, so the next thing is something I did not know for a long time, is that there's also another wire that runs across the length of this that is a copper wire. It is this wire right here. So even though this is a silver color, when you run a file on it, or like where you cut it, you can see, oh, you guys probably can't see, but that's a copper color. So this is actually a copper wire, and on some of your like bigger TVs you'll get this and it's just like a thicker cord, and so for a long time I did not know about that, and so it was, the more you know. So it's gone now. I try not to dwell on that. Alright, so that's everything that I get out of a tube TV. So you've got your board, your yoke, your speakers, and your wire around the middles. Wires around the middle. Sorry. And then you take your cover, and it should just slide right back on where it was, and you should be able to take the exact screws that you pulled out of it and screw it back down. So really simple, really easy. Usually I just put one screw in this corner and one screw in that corner, and then I call it a done deal. And it's all its own package. So now it can go to the trash, and it doesn't have all of those things that can be recycled inside of it as far as I'm concerned. So that's how you take apart a tube TV. Thank you. I have helpers. Look at, aren't they so cute? I got helpers. That's so fluffy. These are little kittens. So they're actually like younger than they look, because they're long-haired kittens, and so they're a lot puffier than they normally would be. And so anyways, those are my helpers. Boop.